Good afternoon, I'm Giovanni Dennis with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're joining us online at onespotmedia.com. 2 children died in a house fire in Barrett Hall, Lilliput, St. James this morning. They were aged 1 and 3 years old. The board structure was destroyed. Firefighters say they received a call about 9 o'clock. The cause of the fire is not yet known. Still in St. James, the Granville police station was extensively damaged by fire also early this morning. No one was injured. The fire started sometime after midnight. Head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force Corporate Communications Unit, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, says important records were among the items damaged. The police have cleared a section of Spanish Town Road and East Avenue in Greenwich Town, Kingston, which were blocked earlier today by residents protesting the fatal shooting of a community member. Demonstrators used boulders and debris, some of which were set on fire, to prevent vehicular access along the road. The community has been on edge since 18-year-old O'Neill Chambers was killed in an alleged confrontation with police last night. Residents say there was no confrontation.
So him now coming at the house last night now, take out a piece of chicken. By the time ESM go round there, so a gunshot me ESM get. Police just jump out a vehicle, so start put shot on him in a yard, mash up him head, go down on him knee and I beg for mercy, and them still kill him and him not have nothing upon him.
They say Chambers was among a group of people in the yard when he was shot.
Well, I'm out here because even me be out here too, I would say, we're going to sit down. In here, we normal in here and drink and play music and them something there.
Just fire too.
And shot just fire up the road and put stuff for your back at town, so. And I yesterday them come all the while. While here, so yesterday them come all the while.
Alicia Morris is the mother of the deceased.
So if my son did have gone now, we would have hold up on his hand and I beg for mercy on your knee. God without no clip. I saw them wicked. Them wicked to him, man. Them wicked.
Have you lost faith in the police and the security forces? Have you lost faith in them?
Yeah, I'm afraid of them. But I can't believe what I'm getting my son, you know. My one son, now I have no more son. I have no more son.
A Jamaica Defence Force soldier was shot in the Kingston Western Division Tuesday night. The JDF private was injured during a reported shootout between a police-military team and members of a criminal gang based in Trenchtown. According to reports, about 9:45 the police-military team responded to gunfire in the Trenchtown community. On their arrival at the intersection of Bryan's and Septimus Streets, they were greeted with gunfire by a group of armed men. During an exchange of gunfire, the JDF soldier was shot in the ankle. The men escaped. A 25-year-old bus conductor from the community later turned up at hospital with a bullet wound. However, he is not considered a suspect. Head of the Kingston West Police Division, Senior Superintendent Michael Phipps, says the police have identified 8 persons of interest in the shooting. They are Kieran Angus, O.C. Kadula, Raheem, John Mary, Punky, Drive-By, Rumbar, Jermaine Smith, also otherwise called Bad Indian, Willis Picton, otherwise called Pops. 2 of the men are wanted for murders. The family of a woman who was stabbed to death in Spanish Town, St. Catherine 2 months ago are seeking closure. They are worried that the deceased woman's killer is still at large. Sandy Williams reports.
On Tuesday, friends and relatives said their final goodbyes to 37-year-old Tamika Quincy Richards. They were hoping this would have brought closure after weeks of grief, but knowing the killer is yet to be nabbed makes it difficult to move on.
I don't feel good over it because we feel like the case should have been solved already.
It has not been resolved to date. Other cases which have happened afterwards have been resolved. Clearly, it's a very slow process. And I'm just hopeful that eventually justice will be served because my sister didn't deserve this. She is not a violent person. She has never been a violent person. And for her to die in such a callous manner is the thing that upsets us the most.
On Saturday, March 13, Tamika was stabbed to death inside her home on Manchester Street in Spanish Town. The police have since listed her boyfriend as a suspect. It is understood that they had an argument the day before she was found dead.
Please give in yourself. Please turn in yourself. May I beg of you, and let me have peace, please.
Tamika died leaving 2 boys behind, both of whom are expected to sit external exams soon.
It has been very hard, very, very, very difficult, as you can imagine. They are young boys. They are both doing pivotal exams now in their life, Pep and Cape. And this very unfortunate thing happened right in their presence. They were sleeping in the other room, so it's a lot of trauma that they're dealing with, and we're just trying to help them to cope with what has happened. Their mother would have wanted them to go on and to try to hold up themselves. She has always raised them to be strong boys, and we're a praying family, so we're not going to be holding them back. We're just sending them to do their best and allow the Lord to lead and do the rest.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
Technology Minister Barrett Hall wants the country's broadband initiative to be a national development project. He was making his sectoral presentation in Parliament on Tuesday. O'Shane Masters has the details.
We are behind the declaration from Technology Minister Barrett Hall in relation to broadband penetration across the island. Over the past year, issues have been raised with the access to internet connectivity, especially for students who've now been faced with doing classes online. It's why Mr. Hall says the National Broadband Initiative must be seen as a strategic investment. Against that background, he says he'd request that Cabinet and Parliament designate the initiative as a national development project which will be funded by government.
The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has allocated $550 million from across its portfolio. In addition, World Bank and the Planning Institute of Jamaica will provide 176 million Jamaican dollars, and GovNet and other existing ICT projects funded by the loan arrangements with the IDB will provide just over $80 million in support.
The initiative will be two-pronged: a 100-day ICT plan, which is expected to be completed by September, and the Last Mile initiative slated for 2025.
We are moving with lightning speed to execute on the 100-day plan, which will involve connectivity between 8 municipal authorities in Portland, St. Thomas, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and St. James. Existing GovNet fiber optic cable will be extended from the KMA to all parishes using the municipal corporation as an aggregation point. The national communication backbone will require simultaneous installation of microwave and fiber optic communication systems to ensure network redundancy and reliability.
When completed, some 461 public entities will be on the system. The Technology Minister says when fully implemented, the national broadband backbone will contribute approximately 800 million Jamaican dollars annually to the economy. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Minister Hall says the country's oil refinery Petrojam will soon have to explain in simpler terms to the Jamaicans the mechanisms used in reaching the final sale price for fuel. This amid concerns recently about the weekly rise in fuel prices despite decreases in some oil-producing nations.
We are getting technical assistance from the International Monetary Fund, which was initiated by my former colleague, Minister Williams, which has access to pricing mechanism in many countries to analyze the impacts of changes to Petrojam's pricing regime. The support is expected within 4 to 6 weeks.
Mr. Hall says the assistance from the IMF will allow the government to make informed decisions. The IMF support will be reviewed with Petrojam and a presentation on pricing will be brought before Cabinet. And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when you return.